Hey everyone, my name is Ashley, and this is my channel RC Hobby Farm. And today we are going to be working on my Rustler. Here's the Rustler. This is actually one of my first cars, well, one of the first top 5 cars I purchased. And I actually bought this little fella used, and he kind of come from a pretty tough family. And when I got him, he was in pretty bad shape. I've kind of cleaned him up a little bit. I mean, the guy that had him before kind of beat it like it owed him money. And I'll tell you what, these Rustlers are pretty tough. Here's one of the old bodies, the old body that was on it right there. But like I said, I've kind of brought it back around. He had a bunch of little goodies on it, and I've added some stuff. It was originally a brushed motor and ESC. He had upgraded it to a VXL because the brush wasn't quite cutting it for him. I actually put all this RPM on it. Some of the aluminum stuff you see on it, he actually had already on it before I purchased it. But today we're actually gonna replace this upper chassis. It's taken a pretty good hit at some point in time. I actually had to put a brand new chassis on this because the other one was cracked all along here. He had smacked something pretty hard with it. Luckily, I got a pretty good deal on it. All right, I'm gonna put the camera up and you can watch me. Let's get started on the surgery. And I just actually have a Traxxas toolkit. That's what I started with. I kind of like it. I'm probably gonna look into some other tools, just because there's sometimes I just don't have the right one when it comes to taking a screw or Allen head or Torx head out. And don't mind this connector here. That was kind of like my first attempt at soldering. It's ugly, but it did work. I do have some screws over here. I may try and replace these, just because they've kind of look like they've been stripped out and beat on a few times. And this upper chassis piece would have been fine to run like this. I just bothered me looking at it, and I think it's only like $7 for a replacement one. When I put all this money in all these other parts, why not? Okay. Now we're just going to move the servo and the servo horn over to the new part. I'm just going to slowly move these screws over here to the new part. Make sure to keep track of your little spacers and races. Come on now, let's come off of there. You can do this. Let's stay down in there. There we go. This would also be a good time to replace your bearings if you're this deep in it, but I've already done that, and I've not even taken it out to play with it yet. Too many projects. Start putting it back together. Just kind of snug it down a little bit so you can make your final adjustments. Put every piece of the puzzle back on there. This is actually a Traxxas aluminum steering horn I come across. I just didn't need it, but I like the color green. Probably take a little bit better beating than the factory one did. This is just a stock servo that was on there. So it's not anything to write home about. Okay. Okay, I guess it's ready for its new home. Well, this is the fun part. Getting everything back in place. Forgot to put one little part back on there. I definitely said I'm not a professional, so mistakes will be made. These little spacers were still on the old chassis. Second time. Okay. Why would you do that? There we go. Now cranking it, torquing it to specification. Yep, that feels good. Whoops. Click. Perfect. Way too tight. All right. Let's try this again. And yes, I know there's 4x4 slash tires on this thing. Perfect. Let's try to do the other side. These are kind of a pain to get to, but that's the fun part. The best way to put these back in is just cross thread them. Now we just have to put the screws back in. Let's see how these do. They look a little bit better, but than what was there. Last two screws. be too good for your home. Go in there. There we go. That one looks a little bit better. Put this back on. Come on now. Guess this wants to go in by hand. There we go. That's all there is to it. I need to get those little studs replaced so my battery clip will stay on where it needs to go. It's ready to go do some bashing now. Okay, we got this little project buttoned up.